Dear boomers, even though the boomers are the wealthiest population segment in American society, there is an increased amount of homeless boomers on the horizon and at the present moment. And now I got all this stuff, statistics out of the Wall Street Journal, so these statistics are kind of dry and sort of alarming, but go with it, go with the flow. So even though we are the richest generation in the United States because the wealth is held in real estate, and these are the boomers that were born in 1946 to 1954, these are the ones who own the most property. And the younger boomers, before me, are struggling with homelessness as well. And this is how the boomers are exacerbating the home shortage problem, which in turn overwhelms local economies. And as more and more of us age, this problem is getting worse. 80% of older boomers who are now mostly in their 70s are homeowners. They were able to buy their homes when these homes were hardly cost anything at all, and now these homes are paid off, and they have chosen to age in place. They feel a connection to the community where they live, but unfortunately they feel that they are stuck with the homes that they have. Well, that's too bad. If they wanted to buy another home, that home would be very astronomically priced, and these boomers are hanging on to their homes, which is contributing to the housing shortage that we now are seeing. And it also contributes to rising home costs, it's almost impossible to buy a home, really. And so here we have the millennials who are at a prime buying stage of their life, and they can't buy a home. And that's why we have angry millennials at the boomers. And I understand that. California, if you stay in your home, the property taxes will not go up. I find that to be very interesting. But of course, there's a lot of other problems that go with that, I guess. So there aren't enough starter homes or smaller home options because, in general, when buildings are being built, they tend to be building larger and more expensive homes. But there is a small home movement, as some of you may know. These small homes are absolutely gorgeous, but you really have to downsize if you want to move into one. And you don't want to start renting out places to put all your junk that you haven't gotten rid of. So, here we go. The boomers are a large cohort, and since the 80s, they've made up the largest share of the homeless population. Younger boomers have made about the homeless population as well for decades, but many boomers are experiencing homelessness for the first time. And a 2023 University of San Francisco study shows that over 40% of the homeless older adults in California were homeless for the first time after the age of 50. And this could have been caused by a major health crisis or the loss of a spouse or some other kind of tragedy. And really, we need a universal health care system to help all of us, basically, There's a lot of people who worked and didn't contribute to Social Security, and that would be, of course, the restaurant workers, also low-skilled workers such as migrant workers, construction workers who were into demolition, and they could be eligible for supplemental security income, which comes at this point to about $950 a month, which really isn't that much, is it? Homes at the very bottom of the market have been affected by the nationwide housing shortage. The supply of those marginal but available housing options shrinks in the context of a very hot real estate market, because even those properties that were serving very low income people, such as hotels, the price has gone up and the people want to sell. They want to convert and knock down new buildings. So low cost assisted living properties, which were never built in adequate numbers to handle the large boomer population, have also been closing amid staffing shortages and financial troubles. Academic researchers have attributed the different economic prospects of the older and younger boomers to something called the Cohort Effect, which is the idea that people born in the same period share unique experiences as they move across time. The older boomers in particular, this is a generation that was coming of age into a very booming economy. And what happened right after that was that for decades of interest rates fell, and that meant that even though they were entering into home ownership at a time when rates were high, they were able to refinance, etc., etc. So the second half of the boomer generation came of age with back-to-back recessions, and they faced a very crowded housing market. The prices were escalating. Young adults, and in particular, faced challenges of getting entry into the labor market and the job market. Jobs were very rare at that time. The crack epidemic of the 1980s led the struggle for homelessness. There was a lot of homelessness due to that, and then now the population of homelessness just continues to rise, and people are at greater risk as they get older. Over the next 10 years, researchers are counting on what they call a silver tsunami, a huge wave of housing inventory from boomers aging out of their homes. They say this would free up housing for younger families to move into, but other housing experts say that that's unlikely to happen. We will not see a tsunami, we will see a trickle. But according to the experts, this will be a tsunami that happens all of a sudden and unexpectedly, perhaps. By 2030, all boomers will have reached traditional retirement age, which researchers expect will only increase the pressure on healthcare facilities and shelters. I would say that the nursing home crisis in the United States is a crisis now, and in the future it's just going to get worse. And my controversial statement of the day is we need a federal safety net for the homeless and for people who are struggling to live. And apparently the Biden administration's budget has put $3 billion to address the elderly homelessness problem, which is not likely to pass. Not this year. But we've never seen a federal proposal of any kind out there. So the conversation is happening. You know, the fact that there's all of this homelessness with the elderly in America is because we do not have communities. We have a nuclear family structure. Dog eat dog, everybody out for themselves, nobody talks to each other. And in other countries, as I have mentioned before, there is older people, younger people, all living together, and they take care of each other. The older people are revered. They are given the sanctity that they deserve and the sacredness that they deserve. And in turn, they look at the younger people with the same kind of respect. Of course, that's my ideal. But that's not happening in this country, as you can see. If there's a huge homelessness problem with the elderly in this country, even though, the housing shortage and the housing boom and the rising costs of interest and all this sort of thing is not just a housing shortage. It's a lack of respect for the generations, all generations. And I got all this information from the Wall Street Journal, and it's a very interesting thing. You can't blame everything on the housing crisis. You have to blame it on a lack of respect for the elderly in this country, mainly. Okay? Please subscribe to my channel, like it, and I do, and you can also get a notification. I go live. No, I don't go live, but I do make a video every day. And love to you all. I hope that wasn't too much of a bummer, but it is what it is. Love to you all. Bye-bye.